Hey guys, how is everyone? We are on our normally scheduled Mind Your Business morning inspiration broadcast. I want to say hello to all of you who may catch me on the replay. And those of you who've never been on a live broadcast with me before, I'll do a quick introduction. We're talking about the part that most people forget to focus on and to celebrate. And I think it's so important, guys. This thing that we're going to talk about this morning. If you're on with me, hey Keisha, how are you? Thank you for watching. And it's your first time, welcome. I am Tanya Wilson-Cherry. I'm a business consultant and certified life coach. I have a 20-plus year background in one of the most amazing industries on the planet, the beauty industry, and 10 years as a former salon owner. I'm hoping you guys can hear me. I'm actually outside on my screen porch this morning. It felt so good out here, so I thought I would bring the broadcast in on the deck. But for those of you who are joining me for the first time, I help entrepreneurs, beauty industry professionals, hey Cece, how are you, darling, hairstylists and salon owners to maintain their customers, get new customers, and profit for real in their business. I help them to uncover hidden opportunities in their right now situation in their business and their career that bring in more money. I form working systems with them according to their vision that help take their business and life to the next level, save time and money, all while creating a lifestyle that they love. Morning, Felicie. I'm so glad that you put that in, because I was wondering, because I'm outside, if you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me, put a 1 in the comments if it's clear, or if it sounds a little, I don't know, if it's not clear, put a 2. If it's clear, put a 1. Hey, Carmelisa, how are you, darling? Thank you for watching. So guys, this morning we're going to talk about the part that many people forget to focus on and celebrate. And it's so amazing. I just think God is so amazing. You can hear me clearly. Awesome. Thank you for that. I went this morning to drop my daughter off, awesome, for leadership camp for the summer. And I'm reading over some of the activities that they'll do. And they're going to have a reading session on a book called The Slight Edge. Eddie, how are you, dear? The Slight Edge. And for those of you who have downloaded my 2017 suggested book list, The Slight Edge is actually on my book list. And so I was jumping on the inside as a parent, because to me it means that she'll get some things in her life, even if it's just seed, even earlier than I did. And there are things that, like The Slight Edge is one of my most suggested books that any and everybody reads. So I was happy this morning to see that is one of the resources they're going to work on in leadership camp this summer. And this also connects to somewhat to our message. So I just think God is amazing, right? Because I was able to share that, possibly give you guys a plug. If you're looking for a great book, The Slight Edge is an excellent read. And what The Slight Edge talks about, hey Veronica, how are you, darling? Thank you for watching. The Slight Edge talks about, and all of us are operating from the slight edge principle. Whether we know it or not, we're operating from that particular principle. Because the slight edge is simply what we do every day. The small things that we do every day are either pushing us towards greatness, or they're moving us away from greatness. It's no in between, right? It's either for us, the things that we're doing daily, or it's against us. And so I think it's so important that we're real mindful, right, of what we're doing. But in my title, I put the part that most people forget to focus on or forget to celebrate. And that part is the process, guys. The process. Because the process for you to get from point A to Z, which may be where you are now and your vision, is the journey, right? And so the process is the journey. And, have you ever heard people who say, well, I'm going to spend more time with my family once I reach six figures. You know, I'm just going to grind real hard, and then I'm going to spend more time with them once I get it. Or in their business, they may say, I'm going to improve that once we get to this level or that level. But guys, I think it's so important that we really focus on the process and the journey, the actual steps that we're doing later. Because whether we know it or not, every day we're creating our legacy. Somebody put that in the comments. Every day we are creating our legacy. And what I mean by that is, because oftentimes when we hear legacy, we think financial. Hi, is that Thais? How are you? Thank you for joining. Oftentimes when we hear legacy, Kristen, thank you for joining this morning. We think monetary, right? We think monetary. For those of you who are just joining and those of you who are on live with me, there's a button on the left. You can press it. Someone else needs to hear the message, and I would love for you guys to share. I thank you for supporting me and coming on and listening, right? And I like to have an interactive broadcast. So you guys feel free to jump in, comment, and also share with your friends and followers. Everybody's joining in. Tanisha, how are you? Every day we are creating our legacy. Absolutely, Cece, we are. And our legacy, of course, there is some monetary part to that, right? Because we want to be able to leave something. Every day we are creating our legacy. Absolutely, Carmelisa. We want to leave something to our family, right? We want to leave something to our children. But guys, what we really leave with people is how we treated them. Y'all don't hear me. What we really leave with people is how we treated them, how we interacted with them, and how we spend time with them. Yes, Tamika, every day we or you or I'm creating my legacy. And so this goes over into your business as well, because sometimes, and this, I haven't heard this a lot, but you know, this maybe about 4 months ago, I heard of an incident where a stylist was talking so negative to her customers, right? Disregarding their requests, devaluing their time, and things of that nature. And so a lot of times we wonder why it's taking so long to get the end result or to feel fulfilled in our business. But a lot of what we do is based on relationship, guys. It's how we treat people, how we interact with people. And so people aren't going to necessarily remember, the children may not remember that gift that you bought them for Christmas when they're in their 30s and their 40s and they're talking to their family. They're going to remember how you treated them. That is what they're going to remember. So I think a lot of people forget to focus on what they're doing while they're on the journey. Shane, the hairstylist, how are you, darling? Angela, good morning, dear. I think a lot of people forget to focus on what they are actually doing, the daily action steps, and what we do while we're trying to get to the bigger home or the six figures or the $1 million salary. I think oftentimes we forget that, and we as humans, good morning, darling, we have a way of expecting greatness where we haven't sown. I'm just going to let that marinate right there. We have a way of expecting greatness where we haven't sown. And so I truly believe that what we get back in the world, what we get back from the universe, from other people, is simply based on what we're putting out. Whether it's things that you need to do in your business, it's always something that might be slightly missing when things are off in our life and in our business. And I think people feel like, I'll go back and correct it later. Laws of attraction. Oh my goodness, Shane. Oh my goodness. I think some people feel, I'll go back and correct it later, right? Whether that's, I had this thing when I was full-time behind the chair where each and every day I would go back and analyze how my day went. Like I would replay being mindful of how we treat our customers, right? Being mindful of how we treat our loved ones, even. Being mindful of how we treat our children, because sometimes we're expecting, people to do great things for us when we really haven't sown great things into their life or their experience. Thank you for sharing that, Shane, because people remember the experience that they had with you. That's what they really remember, guys. Now, I believe that it's super important that we become experts and masters of our skill and our craft. But people remember how you treated them. You can't treat people shysty, right? And expect to be, given all this love and attention back in the universe, right? And so sometimes I think the process is the part that we forget. I think we feel like, well, when I get a little older, I'll do it different. Or when I've been in business for a while, I'll do things different. But I truly believe that if you guys begin to develop a strong foundation as you build your business, as you build your families, if you begin to create those moments, and you must be teachable. Absolutely. Hey, Danielle, good morning. Thank you for watching. I believe that if we create those moments along the way and instead of waiting until the material things that we desire manifest in our life, instead of waiting until the opportunities that we desire manifest in our life, I believe that if we begin to create strong connections, strong foundations, and strong systems in our life and our business, while our business is small, while our family is small, while our relationships are new and fresh and young, and we continue to do those things. This is called the journey, guys. It's called the journey and the process. And we continue to do those things along the way. We'll have more fulfillment, right? And then Shane spoke of the law of attraction, because one, as a man thinks, so is he. And so a lot of times, our thinking just plays a huge part in everything that we do. So you guys know that I always take a few notes before I come on with you. But I feel that many people wait to be great. Many people, I'm going to say that one more time. Many people wait to be great, right? I'm going to do better personally once I get my business at a certain point. I'm going to spend more time with my family once I get my business to a certain point. Now, I do believe that there are times where you just got to go hard in the paint, right? You just got to, buckle down and handle your business. But if you have created quality time with your clients, your customers, and your family prior to that, then it can withstand some of the extra grinding that we need to do. But I just think people forget to focus on the process, because you guys, now don't get it twisted, because I say all the time that your vision, many people wait to be great. Yeah, we just like, what are we waiting on to be great? Hey, Renee, how are you, darling? Are we waiting on our situation to change before we show greatness in our lives and towards people? Because guys, at the end of the day, when we shut it all down, I'm talking about completely down, when we ain't no longer available on this earth, the legacy that we leave behind is going to be the experience that people had with us. It's going to be how we made people feel. And we can't expect to get all of this greatness unless we are in agreement to put greatness out into the world and not wait to be great, to do that thing now, to be kind now, to forgive now, to figure out how to make it better now while it's small. How many of you know that things are, Antonio, good morning, dear, how are you? Things are much harder to sustain and maintain once they become super big and large. It's harder then, right? So I think we should take the time to really pay attention to what we're doing on a daily basis. And let me give you guys an example. Here's a question that you can ask yourself while you're on the journey, because you guys know that we're on a journey. Our vision is a lot further out than where we are now. And what we do daily is our mission. Those are the steps and things we take in order to get there. But I think some people overlook what they're doing daily and don't understand why it's not all adding up. And so here's a question that you guys can ask yourself, because we're always faced with new opportunities. We're always faced with distractions. We just have a chance every single day to veer off the path of what we really desire for our lives. Yeah, I'm going to raise my hand, and y'all put a 1 in the comments if you agree that there are plenty of distractions out here on this earth for us. Plenty of things that can make us move away from what we originally intended on doing. Yeah, I put a 1 in the comments if you agree with me. And so here's a question that you can ask yourself when you're faced with an opportunity. And I'm going to call it an opportunity, right? But sometimes they're really distractions. And we have to know how to discern when an opportunity is a good opportunity, but not necessarily a great opportunity for our particular destiny or journey. Would you guys agree? I see the ones rolling up on the screen. And so you guys can ask yourself this question. Is the goal, the thing, or the action that I'm pursuing, is it worth my legacy? Man. Is the goal, the thing, or the action that I'm pursuing worth my legacy? And this will help you in your daily, in what you do daily, deciding whether or not that thing is really good for your overall journey, for your legacy. Because oftentimes we do things in the moment. We do things in the moment that we regret later. And I think it's because we're not focusing enough on the fact that what we do daily matters. Because it's all of those small things that you do every day, the things that you say to people, the relationships that you build with your customers. It's those daily things that you do with them, or the times that you're able to react to them, that's actually going to matter in the end. Remember, I said your legacy is really, how we affected people while we're on our journey. That's what we leave behind. Those are the memories that people have of us. When a business closes down, that's a good question. Yes, is the goal, the thing, or the action that I'm pursuing, is it worth my legacy? And a lot of times, if we ask ourselves that question, it may make us change what we're about to do, what we're thinking about doing. For instance, somebody might have pissed you off. Y'all don't hear me. And maybe you're in an environment where your character is super important to your next level, right? And everything on the inside of you wants to spaz out. You want to flip out. You want to give them a piece of your mind. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve it, right? I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. But if you ask yourself, is this goal, this thing, or this action that I'm about to pursue, is it worth my legacy? I promise you, if you just take a quick second to ask yourself that, it'll change your mind about how you respond, right? About how you respond. Because we have to learn not to be in reactive mode, right? Where we're reacting to everything around us. And one of the ways that we do that is when we are focused on the process, the journey, and the end result. We can't just focus on the end result, guys. A lot of times we can be so desperate for the end result that we don't do the right things during the process and the journey. And then we find ourselves frustrated. So is the goal, thing, or action that I'm pursuing, or that you're pursuing, is it worth your legacy? That's a good question to ask, because people don't remember what you said as much as they remember how you made them feel, right? They don't remember what you said as much as they remember how you made them feel. So when you're thinking about your clients in your business, guys, there are some really small, simple things that can become strategies for your salon or your business. They're so simple, guys, but they can make a huge difference because of how you made the customer feel. For instance, do you all have a strategy for your customers when they enter your building? Is it something that you guys do for each and every customer that enters your building that makes them feel comfortable, that makes them feel secure about the place that they've just entered, that makes them happy about not only spending their money, right, in your establishment, but also spending their time, right? And we have to think about that not just in our business, but even in our life, guys, because many people are looking to reap where they haven't sown, right? And it can be frustrating, right? Especially if we haven't paid attention to what we've done daily. Our expectations can be out of place. And so it's important, guys, that we focus on the process, what it is that we're doing every single day. Remember, I said people remember how you treat them. That's what they remember. And we can't expect to get back where we haven't sown. But even more so, guys, not only do we have to remember to focus on the process and the journey, but we also have to remember to celebrate it. Somebody put celebrate in the comments. We also have to remember to celebrate it. Because if we are constantly talking about how far we have to go to get to our destiny, if that's our only thought, if we're thinking about how far we are behind on our goals, if that's a constant thought, right, then you're not celebrating the process of the journey. You're not celebrating the process of the journey. And so I always celebrate, absolutely. I always tell my consulting clients, celebrate the process. Yes, please. I tell them to make sure that you find something to celebrate every day, whether it's small or something big that you've done and accomplished for the day. Celebrate that. And not only that, celebrate the people that you're connected to, right? Celebrate the great things that they're doing as well. I do understand that there are times where we measure our business, or, we evaluate our relationships, and we have some of those conversations that are going to allow us to be aware of some things that we do differently, but we also have to celebrate. Have you guys ever been in a place where you were struggling financially and it just felt like it was going to be the end of the world? It was like, I'm never going to make it out of this. This just feels like the cycle that I'm constantly going to. Lisa Terry, how are you? Thank you for joining. Celebrate the people. Absolutely. And while you're in that valley, let's say that valley, if you aren't careful to celebrate each moment that you've overcome something while you're trying to get out of that, hard time, you're less likely to be open to the opportunities that are available for you to come all the way out of it. You guys get that? Because when we're focusing on what's wrong all the time, we can't see the opportunity for greater. We never see the opportunity for greater because our mind, our mouth, our speech, our heart is all filled with what we don't have. And so for me, when I can remember a really hard time, financially facing struggle, and I was like, oh my God, am I ever going to make it out of this? Like, what just happened here? But I realized as I began to focus more on how I was overcoming one obstacle at a time, I began to celebrate that. Like, okay, I got that out of the way. I got that taken care of. On to the next thing. As I began to celebrate those things, I began to attract the things that I needed, and I don't know if it's as much as attracting it as it is just being aware of it. I was aware of opportunities. I was aware of the greatness that was actually already around me, that was in my hand, the possibilities that were available. But when our mind is clogged with, how far we have to go, someone said The Secret. And, the only thing that I've read the book, The Secret, I've seen the movie, and the only thing that I personally disagree with is because it seems like in the book they never gave God any credit in the book, right? I love the book, and some people, are dead set against, the book, The Secret. But I believe that there are some principles in there that are also biblical principles that we just don't use properly, where we haven't been taught properly in our religious environments, of how they can affect our daily life in a positive way. Tamika Ross, good morning, darling. Thank you for joining. I'm going to do a quick reset, and then I'll wind down our Mind Your Business broadcast. I am Tanya Wilson-Cherry. I'm a business consultant and certified life coach. I have a 20-plus year background in one of the most amazing industries on the planet. Guys, the beauty industry is so diverse. It's so creative. There's so many opportunities in the beauty industry. We have the opportunity to meet people from all walks of life, right? We have conversations with people. Say, for instance, a person is a consultant like myself, and they sit in your chair. You have an opportunity to get highly valuable information from people who sit in your chair on a daily basis that other people have to pay for, right? But if you're focused on your process and your journey, you'll know that each and every one of your clients probably has something that you need for next level, and you'll begin to become a great listener. One of the things, God, I celebrate deliberately changing living from paycheck to paycheck? Absolutely, because we were never intended to live paycheck to paycheck. We were intended to live in abundance, right? Because our Father owns all of it anyway. And so, the word says that even an unrighteous man gives his child good gifts. So why wouldn't our Father in heaven give us good gifts? And so we live in abundance, and oftentimes we just have to open our mind up to it, and we have to be aware of that, and reflecting back to what we said earlier, that everything we do collectively is what we're getting back into our lives. And so I was telling you guys that I have about a 20 plus year background in one of the most amazing industries. And guys, we have to begin to look at what's in our hand and 10x that thing, right? 10x it, because a lot of times we're trying to do a lot of things when we really only need to maximize some of the steps that we're taking, right? We need to go, we need to work with a spirit of excellence in every area that we do. If we fully commit to some of the smaller things that we already have going on in our business, we'll see increase. We won't always have to look for new and greater and better if we maximize and master what's already in our hand. And so that's what I teach entrepreneurs. I teach hairstylists and salon owners how to maximize opportunities, how to find missing money in the process that they're using to gain income and revenue in their business, maintain the customers they have, gain new ones, and profit for real, right? It's a way that we can really assess what we already have going on and maximize that. Or one of the things they say now is 10x it, and it's simply by really focusing on the process that we're using. And many people don't dissect the process, like how do I treat my customers when they first enter? I have this rule. I never let my clients touch the dryer hood, right? I never let them touch the dryer hood. If they do, they caught it before I could get it. I always lift it up. I always put it down for them. If I need to check them, I gotta, and I don't work behind the chair full time anymore, but I had to be like super, super, super busy to ask them to turn their dryer back on. And I know that may seem really trivial, but remember, there are some things in the process of how you make people feel that's going to make a difference in your overall results. And sometimes it's little things that need to be tweaked in our life, in our business, and in our relationships that are going to bring us a maximized fulfillment in those areas. And so a lot of times when I'm working with clients privately who own salons or are in the hair industry, well, not a lot of times, we always look at what they're doing now, and we see if there's some things that we can tweak or do differently with what they already have so that we can maximize, But that's who I am. A quick introduction. Well, that one was a little long, but for those of you who had never been on with me before or who were just joining the broadcast, and today we're talking about the part of the process that many people forget or they overlook. They forget to focus on it, and they forget to celebrate it. And that's actually what we're doing daily, because our legacy, what we leave behind, if a business closed down, what people are going to talk about is their experience that they had with that business. They're going to talk about how they felt when they patronized that business. Those are the things that they'll speak of. Hey, Jay, how are you, dear? Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. And so the same goes with your relationships. People they may talk about the financial things that you did for them, but how many of you know that the financial things that you do for people will never replace the relationship that you have with them? It will not trump. Thank you for the nuggets. You're welcome, dear. It just won't trump the relationship that you have with them. And so what I said was a lot of people are expecting a harvest where they haven't properly sown. A lot of people are expecting a harvest where they aren't properly sown, or many people wait to be great. Like, as soon as I get this 6 figures, as soon as I get this $1 million, I'm going to do better about this or that. But many people wait to be great, and I just think that we should walk with the spirit of excellence. If we're doing the smallest, simplest, seemingly unimportant task in our business, if we focus on the process of that and just doing that really, really great, we're going to increase our revenue. It's going to bring, because we're attracting things into our life all the time. And how many of you know that if you don't respect money, then money won't come to you, right? If you don't respect people, you know, it's all like this respect thing. Like I have a reverence for this or that, and so I show it, and it returns back into my life because of the things I do daily, not because of the stuff I do once a year, not because of the major thing that I did once a year, but collectively what I'm doing daily. For every new level that I get to, it wasn't an overnight thing. It was a process. At one point, it wasn't as strategized as it is now. Somebody put strategy in the comments for me. Someone put strategy, because I need you guys to get that. I was listening to a talk where someone was telling the difference in tactical and strategic. And you guys, if you follow me enough, you know I talk about strategy all the time, but it said that many people are tactical. They're just doing stuff, you know, each and every day. And sometimes it can be out of desperation. But strategy is where you're mindful about planning how you're going to show up, right? How you're going to show up, what you're going to do in order to get to the end result. And so many people will focus on the end result, but forget to focus on those little things that they're doing every single day and wonder, you know, why it's not coming back into their lives the way they desire. And so I'm big. I dominate in the area of strategy and planning, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that gifting, because the more I move forward in my journey, I realize that what God has gifted me with is major. Like, it's huge. And so I'm just like, I feel like overly blessed to be able to give that back to the people that do business with me and that work with me from a consulting standpoint. I love it, right? If that's the missing piece that they have, then I fulfill that, and I feel like I'm fulfilling my assignment. I'm planning, absolutely, and strategy. And there's actually a difference in you know, planning and strategy as well. But strategy is major. It's major, 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 guys. And so many people wait to be great. They wait to treat others good. They wait to spend time in the right places. And they wait to experience greatness. Guys, there are things, and I know some people say it's nothing to do in my city, right? You know, I've been guilty of saying that before. But I believe that if we open our mind to new, amazing things, if we open our mind to doing some things that are outside of our normal, if we break out of the box that we're in, right? If we're not always looking for the same thing, I believe that we can find enjoyment and fulfillment in things that are going on right in our community. Hey, Keisha, how are you, dear? And so for those of you who are stylists or who own a brick and mortar building, it's important that you're connected to the community, right? Hey, darling, it's important that you're connected to the community, because that, you know, statistically, they say people aren't really going to drive. The average person's not driving over 14 miles to come and have services with you, right? As a stylist or hair salon. Now, we know that, you know, every rule has its, you know, breaking point, because I've had people drive hours to come and have services with me. But the bulk of your clients are going to be from in your community. So there should be some strategies and things that you guys have in place that build relationships and connect you to the community. And sometimes it requires you to do things other than go to a hair show. Y'all don't hear me. Sometimes it requires you to do things outside of your industry, to listen to someone who's talking about something that you normally don't think goes with your particular industry, right? Because you can get strategies and systems from businesses that aren't in the hair industry, right? And then you can begin to dominate in your community because you have a fresh new idea or way of doing things. And so I've always, you love community connection. Awesome, Keisha. It's amazing. And those are the things that we don't always see immediately. You guys remember I said we're talking about focusing on the process and the journey, which are the things that you do daily while you're attempting to get to that major thing that you desire. But you know, connecting with the community may be something that you may not see instantly. Lord have mercy. You may not see that instantly, because a lot of times, if people can't see it right now, they ain't doing it. They are not doing it. If they need something they can play with now, if it's not something where they're going to see instant results, they want absolutely no parts of it. But part of your marketing for your business, and even your relationships, guys, even your relationships, has to be about the things that you do daily that collectively, maybe a month, 2 months, 90 days, sometimes it's a year before you actually are able to see the strategies. Hey, Denise, how are you, dear? That you've put in place actually manifest and begin to blossom. But if you have understanding, and that's one of the things that's it, the word understanding. Understanding is so major, guys. We do so many things, especially, well, I'm going to say especially in the hair industry, because it's an industry I've been in for over 20 plus years. But because of that, because of my experience, I realized that we do a lot of things in our business as hair stylists and salon owners because of what we heard, or because that's what our industry does, but we do it without understanding. We do it without understanding. And so when you don't understand why you should do something, it's almost impossible to measure it. It's almost impossible to measure it and measure it properly, right? Because you never understood why you did it anyway. You just did it because that's what you heard. And so I just feel, especially in the hair industry, that it's really important that we focus on the business aspect of our industry as well. Because if we don't understand different strategies, why they are important, why they should exist, why certain processes that we're using in our business are not working, if we don't understand those things, then we'll continue to do the same things over and over again, and never get new results. We'll never get new results because we don't know. If you don't understand it, you don't know what to expect. You have no idea what to expect. So oftentimes we're just repeating, because that's what everybody do in the beauty industry, right? That's what the person I used to work with did in the beauty industry. But oftentimes we aren't able to see on the outside what the actual results were for the person who was using that particular system or strategy. So I believe that understanding is major. And I think the art of communication and the art of people, right, is huge. Because until we understand a person, this is from a managerial standpoint. In my salon, oh my goodness, I probably had 300-400 applications or more over my time there, and my largest staff, or because I had employees, and then I did booth rent as well at some point, but 12 staff members at a time. Nobody's personality was the same. No one's personality was the same. And so I had to make my staff my clients. And what I mean by that, because there's something that when we begin to look at different areas of our lives as if they're all our clients, we'll pay more attention to them. And so if I looked at my staff as my clients, then they became people that I had to learn so that I can learn how to serve them to my highest good and their highest good. Hey, Shay, how are you, darling? And this is part of the process, guys, right? I'm going all off topic, but it's all kind of coming in full circle. But one of the things I had to do was understand who I was working with. I had one front desk young lady who dominated. When I tell you, she was a task master. Somebody put taskmaster in the comments, because we just need to reiterate. If I gave her a list, she put her head down to the plow and she went to work, guys. But she wasn't the most people friendly. She wasn't a mean person by far. Good morning, Jason. How are you, dear? Guys, if you're on, do me a favor. If the broadcast is something that you're enjoying and you have one or two people in your life, just one or two, that you think could use the information and you care about them and you'd like a way for them to get the information that I'm sharing this morning, there's a little button on the left that says share. Press it. It will allow, you never know whose life will be changed or affected by them hearing a powerful message. Taskmaster. Yes, she was a taskmaster, but she wasn't like bubbly with people. That's a better way to say it. She wasn't like super bubbly with people. And so I had to be really careful because I wanted to be frustrated with her, because when the customers came in, she was like, "Hey, how are you?" And it was like, how some people are task driven, and so they don't have like the passion that's sometimes needed to make the connection, especially with new customers. Well, that was her. And if I wasn't careful, I would have felt like she wasn't a good fit. But what I did, I realized this about her because I'm understanding my staff. I know that I interviewed everybody. I saw something amazing in them when I interviewed them, and even when they shadowed with me. But I'm learning the more and more as we go along. And so I definitely didn't want to get rid of her because she was getting the job done behind the scenes. That administrative stuff that I couldn't stand, trying to focus on that and actually being the visionary. So I began to schedule her. She was my customer care coordinator. One of them, and they rotated. It was 3 of them that worked the shift every day, but I began to schedule her on our slower days where we didn't have as many people in the salon, but she could still be very valuable, and she loved being the taskmaster. So it's important that we seek understanding, guys, in our business and who we hire, the people that we're in relationship with, because I believe if we seek to understand things better instead of trying to be right all the time, instead of trying to push people into a position that they're not ready for, I believe that we'll have more success in who we choose and who we allow in our lives, as well as who we allow in our business. You guys don't hear me. So you guys want to master the art of people. Shay says, I can relate. I need to become more communicable when it comes to meeting new people. Good morning, Toya. How are you, sunshine? Thank you for joining. And Shay, one of the things that I'm an introvert, like an extreme introvert. So I could do like this thing off to myself where I'm researching and learning and grinding to the plow. Right? But I realize I love people, and I'm sure that you love people as well, Shay. Hey, Carla, how are you? Thank you for watching. I'm sure that you love people as well. And so what I had to do, I had to take my love for people, my desire to understand people, and my desire to want to see people feel better, right? Be better and do better, and recognizing that I had something valuable to give them, that I would be doing a disjustice to the world if I didn't share it out. And so also understanding the value of relationships, because this is how you multiply your life. This is how you go from adding to your life to multiplication, right? The theory of multiplication is through people. It's through people. And so when we understand just how valuable relationships and connections are, we take time to learn to be better communicators. And one huge thing, and we are all off topic, right? Or is this part of the process and the journey? For those of you who have been on with me before, maybe this is all part of the process and the journey, so we're actually on task with the broadcast. But one of the greatest things that I learned about communication, and it's helped me, guys, it's helped me, because when you have something that you really want to share, and you're an opinionated person, and maybe you think strongly about what you believe, if you're not careful, just because you're able to speak well and articulate things well doesn't mean you're a great communicator. Because one of the biggest parts of communication is being a great listener. And Shay, I bet you're a great listener. I bet you're an amazing listener. Do you think you're a good listener, Shay? Put that in the comments. Because it's only from the place that we listen that we can understand. Remember, we talked about understanding a little earlier. And when you're in a position where you can understand, you can maximize, you can dominate, you can strategically move, you can figure things out from a place of understanding. So one of the huge parts that's missing in communication, most communications, because most of us, we're ready to tell somebody what we know. You know, when we're talking to them and we're having a conversation, we may not be fully digesting what the person is saying. We're waiting on our moment. We just waiting on our moment so we can say what it is that we feel or we think or our opinion. Yes, I do have all that at heart, but the words just don't seem to come out when they need to at the ideal time. Sometimes I kick myself later for not expressing it at the time. Yes, you listen very well. I imagine that people who, I find that people who feel they have problems communicating or being social in their communication, they're normally great listeners. And sometimes that's the greatest form of communication. It's one of the greatest forms of communication, being a great listener, because I just believe that it's not always what you say, but what you do. And so oftentimes, Shay, what will be beneficial to you is your actions and your success. Those things will speak for you. The things that you do for people will speak for volumes and volumes for you. Have you guys ever heard somebody, they just talk all the time and they know everything and you can't get a word's edge in when you're talking to them, and you know, you sat and poured out your whole heart or how you felt, and when they go back to comment, it ain't nothing you said. It's like that joker didn't hear nothing I said. Like absolutely nothing. But it's because their goal was not to listen and understand, but their goal was to wait on their moment where they could step in and say what they think they know. And oftentimes the person who isn't willing to listen normally stays stuck. They stay stuck in life a lot because, guys, we learn through people. I'm not going to repeat that on the broadcast. I see your comment, though, Shay. I see your comment. And so, you know, the process, guys, remember, for those of you who are just joining, I said the thing that people forget to focus on, I'm not going to repeat that, and I'm not going to piggyback. I'm just going to leave it right there, children. We're going to leave it right there. That's our little thing. But I understand fully what you guys are saying. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I understand what you guys are saying. I don't know. I think a lot of times when we have a desperation to be heard, there's something missing, right? There's sometimes it's an insecurity that causes us to overspeak people. I heard something amazing from Joyce Meyer some years ago, and it changed. It made me guilty at times. I'd be like, bruh, did you hear me express my love and passion for this hair industry? So, you know, what I heard from Joyce, it made me step back, because there were times where I was that person that I was sharing to you guys where I just needed to get my moment and get my word out, right? But Joyce Meyer said that when you cut people off, to say what it is you have to say, it means that you don't value what they have to say. It means you think that what you have to say is more important than what they have to say. When we don't give people an opportunity to speak, and then when we don't take time to listen and understand what they're saying. And this so ties in, because I said the one thing that's missing out of the process for most people that they don't focus on is the process. And your legacy is actually how you make people feel. That's what people are going to remember. They're going to remember how you make them feel. And so communication, I think, is something huge that we all should practice getting better on. And Shay, for you, sometimes being a great communicator comes through asking questions. It's not always making a statement, but it also comes through asking questions. Beretta, how are you? Dear guys, if you're on and you haven't shared the broadcast and you have one or two people that you really care about in your life and you think they could use the message, press the little share button on the left, share it out. Wow, yes, that's a feeling I've had for years. So guys, sometimes asking questions is better than a statement, right? Because you have an opportunity to learn the person that you're speaking to. And that's one of the reasons I say that interview questions are huge. Like, if you're hiring people and you're not interviewing them, you're doing them a disservice, and you're doing your company and everybody that works with you or rents a booth in your space, you're doing them a disservice, because that means that you don't really have any idea of who is coming to join your team, who's coming into your life. No different from relationships. If we're in our desperation or in our loneliness or our desire, if we're jumping from person to person without vetting them, without finding out more about who the person is, we do them a disservice and ourselves, because oftentimes after about 90 days, just like on a job, y'all don't hear me, most jobs give you a 90-day period, a trial period, right? But after 90 days, guys, we normally meet the real person, because in the beginning we meet the representative. And so I think that a huge part of being a great communicator is learning to ask the right questions. Learning to ask the right questions. Yes, you're right, and I am the one that does not ask a lot of questions. And you'll begin to be a question asker, or a person who asks questions, when you value your journey and your process that you're going to have to take. Your strength is listening. Yeah, I can see that, CC. Your journey and your process, when you begin to value that on another level, you're going to start asking more questions, children. I promise you. Right? Because you're worthy of hearing answers that are going to help you make decisions, because our decisions decide our destiny. The decisions we make daily, which is the legacy that we leave. We're leaving memories with people. That's what we're leaving, and that's the process. And many people are so focused on the end result, which we should be. That should be that thing that we keep in our mind. And remember, we ask ourselves, is the goal, the thing, or the action that I'm about to do, is it worth my legacy? Is it worth my legacy? Is the goal, the thing, or the action? The action could be what you're about to say, right? The action could be what you're about to say. It could be the place that you're getting ready to go to. Is it going to possibly deter your character? Is it going to possibly cause something to look a little off? For someone that might connect with you later, guys, this thing is so connected. The journey is so connected. So guys, let's not forget to focus on the process and the things that we do daily, and know that we can't expect a harvest where we haven't sown something great. Let's not forget not to wait to be great, because many people wait to be great. I'm going to wait till I get 6 figures. I'm going to wait till I become a millionaire. I'm going to wait till this is better in my business. Don't wait to be great. I heard a phrase, and I'm going to log off. I appreciate you guys coming on. I've enjoyed you this morning. But one of the things our assistant pastor said, if you want to become a millionaire, you have to operate your business as if you're already a millionaire. You have to operate your business as if you're already a millionaire. And it was perfect timing for me, because it was an early stage in my business. I'm so odd that my pastor is preaching on the process right now. God will send his message through everyone, won't he? Yes, he will. And he'll keep confirming that thing over and over and over again. He'll send confirmation. I believe that he tells all of us the same thing all the time, but we don't always have an ear to hear it. Sometimes some people need to hear it like over and over and over again. And there are many things in my life somebody had to tell me more than one time, children, right? For me to really get the revelation or the understanding of it, or process it. And one of the things that can help, and we talked about that early, is focusing on the process and asking ourselves questions, right? Getting understanding about things is definitely going to help us when we hear something, because sometimes we can hear something and we just blow it off, right? As if, it's nothing. And a lot of times that has to do with who we heard it from. And that should be sometimes a rule, guys. That should sometimes be a rule. Like, who are you getting your information from? But sometimes, and I'll use, for example, there are things that God shared with me that I didn't go back and pray about or study or research until years later, right? Crazy. And once I studied them and got proper understanding on them, it made a huge difference in how I walked out my process and my journey. And so There are some things in your business as well that if you got understanding on it, if you understood why this thing makes this thing work, I promise you would do it more, or you wouldn't do it, right? Depending on whether it was good or not for your business. So guys, thank you so much for joining me on our Screen Porch broadcast this morning. I was like, it feels good outside. I'm gonna turn on the ceiling fan and switch it up a little bit and talk to everyone from outside this morning. I've enjoyed you guys. For those of you who follow me, you know what we do at the end of the broadcast. If I said anything, you enjoying the birds chirping in the background, awesome, awesome, awesome. That's beautiful. You know what we do if you've watched my broadcast before. At the end of the broadcast, if I've said anything that helped your life or your business while you were on the broadcast, tap that screen for hearts and show me some love. And I can tell the followers, because you guys are doing it in advance, so I appreciate that. And that little share button on the bottom is not too late. If you have someone on your timeline who's a friend who you care about and you think this message would be good for them, press that little button. It allows you to share out. You guys have a super, super, super amazing day. I'll be back on at 2 o'clock to bring the business to the beauty industry.